Structures of some ionic compounds. Structure of sodium chloride, NaCl, rock salt structure. Sodium chloride crystal is made up of sodium ions, that is, cations, and chloride ions, that is, anions. Sodium chloride crystal is a face-centered, cubic close-packed structure. The chloride ions, being comparatively larger in size, occupy the corner and face-centered positions. The sodium ions, being smaller in size, goes to fill up the voids. Thus, sodium ions occupy the octahedral voids in cubic closed structure. On extending the structure, we will see that each chloride ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions, while each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ions. So the coordination number is 6. Now, let us calculate the total number of ions per unit cell. Total number of chloride ions per unit cell is equal to sum of chloride ions at corners and at face centers. The total number of chloride ions is equal to 8 corners into 1 by 8 per corner plus 6 faces into 1 by 2 per face, which is equal to 4. The total number of sodium ions per unit cell is equal to sum of sodium ions at the 12 edges and 1 at the center of the cube. The total number of sodium ions is equal to 12 edges into 1 by 4 per edge plus 1, which is equal to 4. Thus, the unit cell of NaCl contains 4 chloride ions and 4 sodium ions. Structure of cesium chloride. Cesium chloride crystal is made up of cesium ions, cations, and chloride ions, anions. In cesium chloride body-centered cubic lattice structure, the chloride ions are present at the corners of the cubic lattice, while cesium ions are present at the center of each cube. The reverse is also possible, which means that cesium ions can occupy the corner positions, while the chloride ions can occupy center of each cube in the crystal lattice. If we consider the first structure, in which chloride ions occupy the corner positions, while cesium ions occupy the center of each cube, then we will notice that each cesium ion is touching 8 chloride ions, and each chloride ion is touching 8 cesium ions. So, the coordination number is 8. Now, let us calculate the total number of ions per unit cell. The total number of chloride ions per unit cell is equal to chloride ions at corners. The total number of chloride ions is equal to 8 corners into 1 by 8 per corner, which is equal to 1. The total number of cesium ions per unit cell is equal to cesium ions at the body center. The total number of cesium ions is equal to 1 into 1, which is equal to 1.
तो बेटा बात कुछ ऐसी है कि वीडियो पसंद आई हो तो ज़रूर से लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब कर देना, बेल आइकन प्रेस कर देना ताकि सारी वीडियो का नोटिफिकेशन मिलता रहे। और यार बटन दबा ही दो, पसंद आई हो या ना आई हो क्या जाता है, एक लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब में क्या जाता है, कुछ भी तो नहीं जाता। तो दबा दो, बटन दबा दो, आइंस्टाइन बोल रहा है।